Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
Delino DeShields has not let up in his relentless approach to, well, everything. He continues to set the table and set the example for his teammates, be it a bunt single, chasing down a ball in the gap, or flying around the bases as fast as anybody in the game. It's not an exaggeration to say the Rangers would not be in the playoff chase without Delino. His energy is constant, his enthusiasm contagious. He'll lead your Rangers tonight when they meet the Orioles next on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T UVerse TV. It is a cloudy, breezy evening here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Rangers hope to straighten those flags out even more with some round trippers tonight. Delino DeShields and the Rangers taking on the Baltimore Orioles. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us. We appreciate you spending part of your Saturday night with us. The very important ball game for the Rangers. This whole weekend series important as they're taking on one of their pursuers in the wild card race. And Tom, tonight, as you would figure, the captain of the Rangers, Adrian Beltre, playing a big part against the Orioles.
No doubt about it, Buzz. And he's been swinging the bat well lately. His hand is finally, it looks like, starting to come around. I'm sure he's still got a little bit of pain, but he's 9 for his last 22. He's swinging it well, and he's been swinging it well for quite a while against the Orioles. Since 2012, to the tune of about a 381 average with home runs and an OPS over 1,100. So he's swinging the bat well right now anyway. He likes facing the Orioles. Maybe he'll be the key to the game tonight for the Rangers.
Well, they would appreciate that because it has been a good run for them. They have won 4 out of 5 against these Orioles and look for some more tonight. So Adrian Beltre and the Rangers getting set to take on the Baltimore Orioles. Game 2 of this 3-game series coming up next on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Ford dealers. The best deals are happening now only at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T Uverse TV. Uverse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Well, a cloudy evening, a high overcast here. Rangers will clear things up tonight, though, as they take on the Baltimore Orioles. And before we get things underway, let's head down to the field and check in with Emily Jones.
Well, that's Martin Perez on the hill tonight for the Rangers as he continues to make his way back from Tommy John surgery. There's been some ups, there's been some downs. Jeff Bannister says it's a matter of taking things one game at a time.
What he needs to do, concentrate one pitch at a time, because he tends to get ahead of himself a little bit. He wants to get that last out before he gets there, so just really refocus one pitch at a time. And if he doesn't make the pitch he needs to, just come back and understand that he's got some defenders behind him, and he's a ground ball guy. Pitch to the ground ball, and we'll get him out of any mess that he gets himself into.
Yeah, one game at a time. I'm way too ahead of myself. One pitch at a time, Jeff Bannister says. Martin Perez, like he said, just needing to slow things down a bit. Easy to understand, though, as he has missed some time and wants to try to make up for that, guys.
All right, Emily, thank you. Yeah, the impetuosity of youth. And Martin Perez certainly has that, along with a wealth of talent. Well, Tom's going to tell you about the lineup that he will face tonight for the Baltimore Orioles.
Manny Machado will lead off for the Orioles. He's their third baseman. Gerardo Parra will bat second. He's fifth in the major leagues with a .333 average since June 11th. Adam Jones is third. Chris Davis is fourth. Steve Pearce will play first tonight and bat fifth. Jonathan Scope hit .209 last year. He's hitting .293 this year. Caleb Joseph is the catcher. Dariel Alvarez signed out of Cuba in July of 2013. He'll play right field. And Paul Janisch is the shortstop, batting ninth.
And Buck Showalter's club comes in at 63 and 65. They are facing Martin Perez, the 24-year-old left-hander. Our progressive scouting report. Hopefully the extra rest will rejuvenate Martin. He was the one that said, too, that, yeah, maybe he needed that extra time off. He'd been pushing it pretty hard, but he's back and ready to go. He's thrown the ball extremely well. He just hasn't had the results that he would like to get. Now it's a matter of getting back to the grind of competition. By that, I mean going out there every fifth day and getting your work in between starts, making it meaningful, and having it accomplish what you want to accomplish, and that's put out a good outing every fifth day. So Martin Perez, after an 8-day layoff, back on the hill tonight, and facing the Baltimore Orioles, who have lost a couple in a row, and they have won just 2 of their last 8. They come in, again, a miserable road record for them this year. They are 26 and 40 away from Oriole Park and Camden Yards. Manny Machado to start things off. First pitch of the ball game is a broken bat roller out to short. Well, one pitch for Martin Perez, one very nice out as Machado grounds out. Now Gerardo Parra. And we'll take a look at the Rangers defense. It's delivered to you tonight by the New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau. We saw Elvis handle that first ground ball. He has been on a roll of late. He has only had one error in his last 25 ball games. 132 double plays turned. That's the most in the American League. And Hanser Alberto, the double play partner of Elvis tonight. Again, Rougned Odor out of the lineup. Beltre and Moreland at the corners. Chu, DeShields, and Venable in the outfield. And Gerardo Parra showing bunt and takes strike one. Rougned Odor, and Jeff Bannister was talking about Rougned today. He said, yeah, there's progress. Not as much as Rougned would want, and certainly not as much as the Rangers would want. But that's something you can't hurry up. It's going to heal on its own time frame.
Yeah, it's one thing if you're an outfielder and you might not have to make a throw the whole game, but as a second baseman, you're making some key plays. And if you can't throw and it affects your accuracy, you just better wait until it feels better.
Parra loops a fly ball to right. Coming on is Chu, and he goes into a sit-down slide to make the catch. Out number 2.
Well, Buzz, we've been talking about Shin-Su's offense and what he's done since the All-Star break. Been on base 42% of the time, whatever it is. He's also playing defense better. He's just a better player right now than he was earlier in the year. He's more aggressive. He's more confident. Just looks like he took a deep breath and said, I'm going to be myself and play my game and not worry about anything, not think about my contract. He just looks like a better player right now all the way around. He looks better on the bases, better in the outfield. He's throwing better. He's hitting better. And that's nice to see.
Much more calm about things.
He is.
Not as uptight about stuff.
No.
Adam Jones takes strike one. Jones hitting at .280 with 24 home runs and 66 RBI. He has not had any success against Martin Perez, and that will continue as Martin Perez has a 6-pitch first inning, sends the Orioles down in order. We finished half an inning. It's the Orioles nothing, the Rangers coming up. About the Southwest Airlines Rangers lineup.
Lionel DeShields will lead off in center field. Shin-Soo Choo has reached safely in all 32 starts that he's had since the All-Star break. Prince Fielder is third. Adrian Beltre is fourth. Mitch Moreland leads the Rangers with a .488 slugging percentage. Elvis Andrus is sixth. Will Venable, 3 hits and 4 walks in 17 plate appearances since he's become a Ranger. Bobby Wilson bats eighth. And the second baseman, Hanser Alberto, will play second and bat ninth.
And that is the lineup that Jeff Bannister has put out there to face Ubaldo Jimenez, the 31-year-old right-hander out of the Dominican Republic. Jimenez been having some problems lately. He's got off to a very good start for the Orioles this year, but he has been having problems in his last 7 or 8 starts, commanding the strike zone with his fastball. And the Rangers will try and use that against him here in the early part of the ball game. See if he's still going to have that problem, and if he is, they'll go ahead and take a base on balls.
Yeah, this guy's a strange pitcher. You could see him, and he can't get anybody out. You can see him on another game, and it looks like he's got no-hit stuff.
Yep.
And we've seen him that way before.
And he's had a no-hitter before, as a matter of fact, the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah, sometimes you see him, and he'll be 92 to 95, and sometimes not. Tonight he's, at least early in the game, he's not.
3-1 the count to Delino DeShields, a .262 average. Delino up about 8 percentage points in that average in the last 4 games. 3-1 on the way. Now 3-2. DeShields a couple of home runs, 27 driven in. Had a big RBI triple in last night's ball game, his 8th triple of the season. Jimenez with the payoff pitch. We'll try it again. The Rangers come in against Buck Showalter's club, having won 4 of the 5 meetings so far this year. Won 3 out of 4 in Baltimore the last couple of days of June and the first 2 days of July. That was the first time they've won the season series now, and that's the first time that's happened in a couple of years. Right center field, and it is up the alley and going to the wall. The Jets are on for Delino. Into third with a hit dive, a triple to start things off.
I think Alvarez thought he was just going to slide over and catch that ball. The problem was it was 10 feet over his head. Instead of taking an angle to go back and catch it, he took an angle to where he thought he was going to be able to catch it. Only Delino hit it a little bit harder than the right fielder thought it was hit, and went right over his head. Watch the path he takes on this ball. He's going to go straight across for it. Delino smoked it to right center field. Watch the right fielder. He's going to go straight across, and now he's going to go, whoops, it's over my head.
Oh, darn, I hate it when that happens. So, DeShields with a leadoff triple, his 9th three-bagger of the year. Here is Shin-Soo Choo. He takes the off-speed pitch. Right about there, he kicked the afterburner in.
Every time he's gone for 3 or scored a run, when he cuts the corner, he doesn't miss a beat. He's going full speed, never has to stutter step to touch the bag. Never takes too wide of a turn. It's like the same thing every time.
You think he's done that before a few times?
Yeah.
In the dirt, nice stop by Caleb Joseph, and the count moves to 2-1. Delino Shields, a lot of fun to watch, and if you folks haven't seen him in person, you need to get out here and check him out, going around the bases and playing center field for that matter. He does a very good job defensively of covering ground out here. Chopper to first, and a check by Pierce. Delino staying put at first base, and that's out number 1. As Chu grounds out, can't get the runner home. Now Prince Fielder will come up. Take a look at the Orioles defense. You saw Steve Pierce at first base. He's joined on the infield by Scope and Yanish up the middle, Machado at third. Outfield, which has been very good. Parra in left, Jones at center, Alvarez in right. 39 assists, the most in the major leagues this year. The Baltimore Orioles, we saw Dariel Alvarez in his major league debut. And now they've got Delino to throw it off the plate, and that's going to be it. So Delino going on contact, but the ball right back to Jimenez, the pitcher.
I think Delino reacted, maybe thinking the ball was headed up the middle. Unfortunately, it was snagged by the pitcher. At least at this point, Pan's done a pretty nice job about pitching around a man on third and no out situation.
So, Prince Fielder now takes over at first base. And with 2 outs, Adrian Beltre will step to the plate. Talked about Adrian, the damage he has done against Baltimore going back to 2012, the year that he joined the Rangers. And how about against Ubaldo Jimenez? Takes a strike at the knees, 0-1. Beltre, as you saw, a .270 average now. That's as high as he has been all year, with a dozen home runs, 42 driven in. That big slow hook, and it stayed high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Adrian, a 4-game hitting streak. I've seen him go 6 for 16. Hit safely in all 3 games against the Toronto Blue Jays on this homestand. And then the last night, of course, against the Orioles. That ball is hit high and deep to left center. Jones is going back at the track and makes the catch. Adrian must have gotten that not quite on the good part of the bat. And Adam Jones able to run it down. The Rangers come up empty. No runs, a hit, and 1 man left. After 1, we are scoreless. Southwest Data Strong Fan. And you just might see yourself in one of our upcoming broadcasts. All this brought to you by the good folks at T-Mobile. We'll show you the selection for tonight a little bit later on. Orioles come to bat here in the top of the second. Scoreless ball game. Chris Davis, the designated hitter, takes strike one. It'll be Davis, Pierce, and Scoop. Chris Davis, 251, now tied for the second spot in home runs in baseball, 35 of them. He and Josh Donaldson of the Blue Jays with 35 round trippers, 92 RBI, second to Josh Donaldson. Donaldson had a couple more RBI today, and the Blue Jays continue to go crazy offensively. They downed the Detroit Tigers 15-1. Edwin Encarnacion had 3 home runs, one of them a grand slam, drove in 9 runs today. Wow. 1-2 pitch. Just a little bit high.
Where was that one?
Our Fox tracker would say it was in the strike zone. Hey, Chris against the Rangers has not had real good luck. Oh, he lost a bat there. That thing got sawed off. Andrew Alberto charging and throwing. Oh, that's Elvis, I'm sorry. Andrews makes the play. That is out number 1 before Steve Pierce steps in. Let's welcome in Jim Nutt. Jim.
Oh, I appreciate it, Buzz. Hey, I'm with Paul Davis. He's with Scott's Firefighter Combat Challenge. That took place before the game right outside of Globe Life Park. This was a pretty cool competition. What was this about, Paul?
Well, this is we call the toughest 2 minutes in sports. It's a collection of 5 linked tasks that firefighters do every day before the news guys show up. And they race head-to-head on a mirrored course against each other in the clock for big-time bragging rights.
Well, that's pretty cool. We got the winner. What did he won in a what? Any idea what the time was? Anything?
1:24, right, Ron? Yeah, 1:24, minute and 24 seconds, which would take me longer to tell you what he did than he did.
And your name?
Ryan Fitzgerald.
From Minnesota, right?
Correct.
All right, congratulations. You guys have the relay tomorrow, and that goes from 10 to 2.
That's correct.
All right, fans, you want to come out and see some pretty cool competition right outside of Globe Life Park, 10 to 2. Buzz?
Thank you.
All right, Knoxville, thank you. Adrian Beltre, nice play behind the bag. Shoots down Steve Pierce, and there are 2 gone.
Well, one thing that Jeff Bannister said about Martin Perez, he's a ground ball pitcher.
Yep.
He's right. So far tonight, he's had 4 ground balls. Adrian gets a good jump on it, gets a good hop, and makes the long throw across the diamond. 14 pitches, 11 strikes, and 3 balls so far by Martin.
That's pretty efficient.
It looked like against the Tigers, Buzz, he was just trying to hit the bottom part of the strike zone.
Yeah.
Just couldn't quite get the ball where he wanted it.
Yeah, and you know, you have days like that, and especially with Martin coming back not really in full gear as far as competition goes, trying to do something you're probably not really ready to do. You know, be that fine with your pitches. But he was able to come back from that, get his work in between starts, and say, okay, that's a lesson learned. And tonight, well, he's right back at it. 0-2 to Scope. Ouch. Another saw-off job. Well, how about 5 ground balls in the first 2 innings? 3 up, 3 down again. Orioles gone. They played an inning and a half. No score in Arlington. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers and by Geico. Mitch Moreland stepping in to lead off the Rangers' second. Scoreless ball game. Moreland, a .286 average. And Ubaldo Jimenez dealing to the bottom part of the strike zone. It is 0-1. Mitch, 4-game hitting streak going, but he's had just one hit in each of those 4 games. Comes out to a .250 average. 1 ball and 1 strike. Pretty much, though, the model of consistency. Mitch Moreland in the month of August, a .293 mark, 16 RBI in this month. Lines one to right. That is going to be down for a base hit. Well, Mitch with the second Ranger hit. Another leadoff safety as Delino DeShields led off the first of the triple. Rangers couldn't get him home. See what they can do with Mitch aboard here.
Mitch got a hanging curveball right in the center of the plate. Drilled that ball out of line to right field over the second baseman, who was out in right field himself, and in front of the right fielder.
And Moreland, that's only his 3rd hit in 16 at bats against Jimenez. So Mitch thankful for that hanger up there.
I hadn't seen that hanger very often against Jimenez.
Here's Elvis, .257 average for the Rangers shortstop. Little roller down the first baseline. It's going to stay fair, and the throw just in time nibs Elvis at first base. Into scoring position at second is Mitch Moreland. That's one of those balls that looked for all the world like it was going to stay foul and just hugged the chalk and came back to fair territory.
It looked like Elvis had made up his mind he was going to try to go to right field, but just didn't get a really good pitch to do it on. And just fought that ball off and stayed right on the chalk. Joseph had to kind of loft it over Elvis and made the play.
1 out now. Here's Will Venable showing bunt and takes strike 1. Machado, the third baseman, playing way off the line and relatively deep. The overshift on, and that gave Will Venable the idea, hey, if I drop one down, there's nobody over there. See where Machado is. You get 40 feet off that line. Foul back out of play. It's no balls and 2 strikes. Venable as a Ranger this year, hitting .231. Has 1 RBI. As a San Diego Padre, hit .258. Reached base in all the games in which he has played for the Rangers. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Venable, some experience against Ubaldo Jimenez. Will is 5 for 15. Another tapper foul. Count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jimenez in his career has had pretty good success against the Rangers, 3-0. And he has held them down offensively. But he hasn't faced them since 2013. Excuse me, since last year. He did face them once last year, did not face them in the series in Baltimore this year. Last time out was June 30th of last year. He worked 8 innings of no earned run baseball. Call strike 3. Venable caught window shopping on that Jimenez pitch right down at the bottom of the zone. That's out number 2.
It looked like he brought it back to the inside corner, had some movement on it, and did. Came back, caught the inside corner. Probably didn't look that way to Will as the ball was coming there, but that movement at the end apparently brought it back into the strike zone.
That's a first strikeout for Jimenez. And now Bobby Wilson, the catcher, takes low and outside for ball 1. Wilson, a .256 average as a Ranger. He has driven in 6 of his 10 runs this year in the Ranger uniform. 1-1. Good look at a pretty nice crowd here on Saturday night. Comfortable evening, temperature right at 90 degrees and a breeze drifting in from right center field. In tight, 2-1 the count. Bobby Wilson came over from the Tampa Bay Rays on a waiver claim the last day of July. With Tampa Bay, he'd been up and down between Durham, which is the AAA affiliate of the Rays, and the big club. 3-1 now the count. No, Bobby trying to get aboard to join Mitch Moreland. Hands are Alberto, the Rangers' second baseman. He is going to be next. Jimenez a check of second. And way outside, ball 4. No, 2 on, 2 out. Alberto coming up. Buck Showalter in his 6th year at the helm of the Baltimore Orioles. Got them into the playoffs last year, and they were swept out by Kansas City. And this year, hopes were very high for Baltimore, but they've fallen on hard times, and they're struggling right now just to keep their name in line for the second wild card. Pitch way inside. It gets away from Caleb Joseph, but not far enough for Moreland to advance. Alberto, a .236 hitter. Trying to pick up Mitch from second base. Moreland trailed by Bobby Wilson over at first. That pitch in for a strike. It evens things up at 1-1. Jimenez back to the plate. Slowly hit towards short. Going the short way.
Oh, we almost
Giannis
by him.
My goodness, they get the force, and that'll do it for the Rangers. No runs a hit. They strand 2. We have finished 2 in Arlington. Rangers nothing, Orioles nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. Park, and this Sunday, August 30th, the first 7,500 kids 13 and under will receive a Shin-Soo Choo blue batting helmet sponsored by Dairy Queen. Head on over to TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS to get your tickets for tomorrow. Forget a 2 o'clock ball game tomorrow afternoon. The Rangers and the Orioles finishing up this 3-game series. Caleb Joseph leading off for Baltimore here in the third. Be Joseph, Alvarez, and Yanich as Martin Perez misses low and inside. Caleb Joseph, a .244 average with 11 home runs and 46 RBI. Here's the changeup, broken out by Martin Perez. He has a dandy, you'll remember. Foul back, and the count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Caleb Joseph, an 0 for 3 last night. Last 3 ball games, Caleb Joseph and really the entire Baltimore club really struggling offensively. There's a line drive, Beltre. Playing a little bouncing the ball out of the glove. Adrian quick as a cat though with that bare hand. Well, he had that all the way.
Joseph hit a rope in Adrian. Got the glove on it, caught it in the air. If it bounced down in front of him, he would have plenty of time to pick it up and throw it to first base. It was almost too hot to handle. There you go. No problem.
Now,
Just don't let it hit the ground.
Does he get an assist for that too?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
That's just a put out.
Oh, 1 out. Dario Alvarez. His second big league game.
That's the first ball they've hit hard in the ball game. Joseph's hit that ball hard. Looked like it was headed down the left field line.
0-2 the count to Alvarez. That was hit hard but pulled just foul outside the bag at third. No, Alvarez last night in his major league debut went 0 for 3. He was just called up from AAA. He's a 26-year-old out of Cuba. Made pretty quick progress through the minor league system. It's a high fly ball to left. Venable didn't see it, but now he does. Kind of twilight here at Globe Life Park, and well, that's got to be a helpless feeling for an outfielder to have that ball go up in the air and all of a sudden it's disappeared.
Yeah, you just hope you're in the vicinity for when you do pick it up, and he was. Saw it off the bat and had it tracked okay.
2 gone now, and here's the number 9 hitter, Paul Janisch. Janisch in his 5th game with the Orioles, called up to replace the injured J.J. Hardy. Janisch, a slick fielding shortstop. Been around off and on the major league level, and he was leading the International League this year, fielding percentage.
Well, we haven't seen him very often, but what we've seen in a game and a couple innings, a pretty good defensive player. He looks pretty stylish out there at shortstop. And Martin Perez may have struggled a little bit with his command against the Tigers, but he's not struggling today. 24 out of 28 pitches have been strikes.
And he's ahead the count here. No balls, 2 strikes. A little chopper foul. Janisch has hit safely in the last 3 ball games. He's gone at 4 for 9. Another 0-2 pitch. This one's popped up. Shallow right. Andrew Alberto going out. He's called off by Shin-Soo Choo. And that will do it. So 3 balls in the air this inning. But it comes out the same way. A 1-2-3 inning. We have played 2.5. The Rangers nothing. The Orioles nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. fireworks show out here at Globe Life Park this year. The next opportunity is coming up Friday, September the 11th. That follows the Ranger game with the Oakland A's. And fans using the online coupon code FIREWORKS at TexasRangers.com/specials can get seats for just $14. Seats are going fast, so don't wait. Get yours today. Top of the Ranger order here in the bottom of the third inning. Delino DeShields, who began tonight by tripling to right center field. Unfortunately, Rangers could not get him home safely. No balls and 2 strikes. Well, Delino with that leadoff triple. That was extended his hitting streak to a modest 3 games, but he's had 5 hits in those 3 games. And we'll take a look at our Ford leaderboard, talking about rookie Ranger all-time leaders in triples. Ruben Sierra and David Hulse, both with 10. Delino DeShields now with 9. Ruben Sierra back in '86, David Hulse in '93. And I'm not sure either one of those guys as fast as they were, or as fast as Delino, but
no, not quite.
They can all run. Little cue shot foul. And we'll try it again at no balls, 2 strikes.
Jimenez has pitched a lot better at home this year than he has on the road. He's got a winning record and a nice ERA at home. Last 6 road starts, he's 1-4 with a 6.06 ERA. His last start was in Kansas City. He gave up 7 runs in 5 2/3 innings.
Machado charging, takes a little time, and not in time.
Yeah, he got a little too cool with that one.
That he did. He was checking the laces, and meantime, Delino DeShields was checking his way down to first in a hurry.
He checked the laces, forgot who was running, depending on his arm, which is a cannon for an arm, but unless it is reversed on a replay, we'll find out about that. Just didn't have that much time to make the play.
Buck Showalter, you might have seen, tell the umpires, hang on a second, let us look at this potential challenge. Home umpire David Rackley peering into the Oriole dugout, and Buck says no, we will not challenge that. So Delino DeShields, his 2nd hit of the night.
Well, Delino's got a couple of hits tonight. One, the right fielder took a bad angle, and that one, Machado, who's a Gold Glove caliber 3rd baseman, just took a little too much time to get rid of the ball.
So again, DeShields starting an inning off by getting aboard. And here's Shin-Soo Choo, who grounded out his first time. Choo steps to the plate, hitting at .248 for the year. Choo on this homestand, 7 out of 19. That's a .389 mark. Pitch on the outside corner, or thereabouts, for strike 1. As Tom told you, Choo has reached base in all 32 of his starts since the All-Star break. That includes the last 19 games consecutively. And Jimenez doesn't have a good quick move. He's a big, tall guy, and a lot of arms and legs, and a little tough for him to get the ball over there quickly. His feet are not as fast as some guys of smaller stature. 0-1 the count. Now 0-2. Talking about Choo being among the league leaders since the All-Star break in a lot of categories. On base percentage, on base plus slugging. He's hit .319 in the 34 games since the break. Foul tip, and Shin-Soo staying alive. Well, the Rangers as a club, if you go back and use that 34 game span since the All-Star break, hitting a .278. That's good for 2nd in the American League. They're 3rd in runs per game at an even 5. And their 3rd on-base percentage at .335. So they've done a very good job of capitalizing. And one of the reasons that They have played good baseball since the break. They have the 3rd best record in the American League. They're 24-15 since the All-Star break. Only Toronto and Kansas City have better records. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Chu. An overshift on. Machado, the 3rd baseman, playing a normal shortstop spot, with Giannis, the 2nd baseman, or in the 2nd baseman's spot, just to the right of the bag. In the dirt, count evens. Rangers playing solid baseball in the month of August, too. They have the 3rd highest win percentage in the American League. They're 16-9. Looking to add some more against the Orioles here tonight. Right center field, up the alley. Long run for Alvarez. It's over his head, off the wall. Here comes the shield. He's being waved home. No throw as Delino scores. Chu with the RBI double. The Rangers lead it 1-0.
Chu kind of hung in there in that at bat. He was fooled by a changeup and just barely got a piece of it. And then he waited on a pitch and drove it. Looked like it was going to go out of the ballpark for a second. He stayed in. He's got a little something going here. Let's see how far that one went. Bounced up in the air and easily scoring was Delino DeShields on it.
Chu now with 16 RBI in his last 33 starts. His 25th double of the year. Rangers on top 1-0, and Chu at second with nobody out for Prince Fielder.
On the pregame show, we talked about the top of the order, DeShields and Chu, and they've got 3 hits so far in this game. Top of the order, getting the job done. Setting the table.
3 of the 4 Ranger hits by those 2. Once
that ball hit the ground, it was off to the races.
High fly ball down the left field line. Parra kind of staggering around toward the ball and makes the catch. And Fielder out, 1 away. Now Adrian Beltre coming up. Now before Adrian steps in, let's send it over to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. How about that? Hat trick in hockey, Toronto, and they're throwing hats on the...
A lot of hockey fans up there, that's for sure.
Beltre drives one. That is deep to left field. It's on its way. Goodbye. Career home run number 408. Adrian Beltre all alone in 51st place, and the Rangers lead it 3-0.
Well, Adrian hit a ball almost to the wall the first time up. You mentioned Buzz, he might not have gotten all of it. Well, he turned it around and got all of it that time. In the open, we talked about Adrian, and he's been hot recently, and since 2012, he's been extremely hot against the Orioles. And he keeps it up with that long home run to left field. Inside part of the plate. Boy, it sure didn't look inside when you watched him swing at it.
Whatever he missed the first time around, he got that time.
Yep.
Well, Beltre with his 13th home run of the year. He is now driven in 44 on that swing.
You look at how the inning started. Started with a little ground ball to third base that Machado probably should have made the play on. Couldn't make it in time. Delino just sprinting down the first baseline. And he set the table for the inning. With his speed. Speed, huge part of the Ranger offense.
That's better than halfway back in that big end of the bullpen out there. 414 feet, the guesstimate on that.
Yeah, if the coach out there in the bullpen looked familiar, that's Don Cheedy. Yeah, Don used to be a Ranger coach.
Well, Mitch draws the walk.
The shortstop,
Dave Wallace, the pitching coach. There's Dom out there.
Yep. Dom ducked, make sure that home run ball went over his head. Talking to Buck Showalter. Let's get somebody up in the bullpen.
Either that or where are we going for dinner after the game?
Maybe they had plans and they said, you know what, I'm not that hungry. I'm not that hungry watching the third inning.
Yeah, no kidding. Jason Garcia, the right-hander, up and starting to loosen. Well, Moreland drew the walk after Beltre's home run. Here's Elvis, who tapped out in front of the plate first time up. Strike one. Elvis now with a .257 average. Double play ground ball to short. Scope turns it over. And that'll do it for the Rangers. But they do get 3 runs. Adrian Beltre caps it off with the big 2-run home run. 3 runs on 3 hits, nobody left. On to the 4th we go. Rangers 3. Open a critical 4-game series against the Houston Astros. Grab a friend and come on out to Globe Life Park. You get 2 upper box or upper reserve seats available for just $14 using the online coupon code Lone Star. That's a savings of up to 71%. Go to TexasRangers.com before all the seats are gone. Better do it now. Well, Rangers jumping on Ubaldo Jimenez for 3 in the bottom of the 3rd. Go to the top of the 4th inning now. Martin Perez has that 3-run advantage with which to work. Joining us in the booth, as he always does at home, Mark McLemore. Good to see you, Mac.
Good to see you guys. Good to be back. Beautiful night. 3-run lead. We're not finished yet either. We're going to score some more.
You got to do it in small pieces, though. Otherwise, they'll take him in as out. Here's a line drive
There's
right.
that spot again.
Yeah, right there.
Boy, we see a lot of balls hit right there, and that Rangers second baseman is right there for most of the right-hand hitters.
That's some good defense right there. Line it up. Your pitcher throw it to his spot.
The Orioles have hit 2 ropes. One right at Adrian, and that one right at Hanser at second base.
Does that count as a ball in the air? I guess it does.
Yeah, it does.
Well, that's 4 in a row now that have been in the air, and That was after 5 of the first 6 outs on the ground. So, come on, Martin. Get back where you're throwing the ground balls. Gerardo Parra takes on the outside corner for strike 1. Parra lined out to right his first time up there. 35 pitches. It's all that Martin has had to use to get 10 outs. That's pretty efficient, isn't it?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what you want.
One ball, 2 strikes. It looks like whatever he decides to throw is going to be thrown well, and it's going to be the right pitch, no matter what.
And it's going to be a strike. 30 out of 37 pitches have been strikes.
Just off the outside corner.
Starting to look like that. What? That was that his second outing?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's starting to look a lot like that. And you know, I think one thing that I'm seeing already today is his tempo. Again, he's getting up there, getting the sign, throwing the pitch, and just going until I said something right there.
The hitter called timeout. He was ready.
No, you're right, Mac. I think that's very important. Parra going on strikes. That's the first strikeout that Martinez had tonight.
Well,
2 outs.
Don't you think, Buzz, if you're a young left-handed pitcher and you're pitching the night after Cole Hamels pitches and works quickly, that it might spur you to get the ball and work quickly?
I would tend to try and do exactly what he did.
Yeah.
May not be able to do it, but I would try and do it just like he did it.
Well, we saw Mark Burley a while back, and another guy, another lefty that works quickly.
No, 2 outs. Here's Adam Jones. 1 ball, no strikes. Jones had a ground ball to short to end the first inning. That changeup floats wide. It's 2 balls, no strikes. You know, Adam Jones surprising some people last night by being in the lineup after colliding with the wall against Kansas City on Sunday. Or I should say on Thursday. Oh, diving attempt by Elvis. It got under his glove. And Jones, a big turn, is going to hang on with a 2-out single, and that's the first base runner for the Orioles tonight. No, after 11 consecutive outs, Adam Jones hits one just out of the reach of a diving Elvis Andrus for a base hit.
Well, you dove past it.
Might have killed it. Maybe it kicked back a little bit. Yeah, sure did.
He just dove by the ball.
That's an overrun right there, or an overdive. Be interesting to see what happened there. Can't tell if it kicked back to his left or if he just flat out overran that one.
He's got too much range. He's too quick.
Outran the ball. Now here's Chris Davis, and he takes a fastball in for ball 1. So there goes the perfecto bid. Davis, a ground ball to short his first time. Rangers again in an extreme overshift with the left-handed hitter up there. He hands her Alberto a good 40 feet out into right field. And Adrian Beltre midway between second and third. The 1-1. It's going to be in the seats off the third base side. The ball and 2 strikes.
You know, I don't know that I'd throw Chris Davis any fastballs, especially not now being behind the count. He is just so geared up for that fastball.
Saw one up. That's not really reachable. 2-2 now. Davis in the midst of an 0 for 8 as he stands at the plate. Got him swinging.
I'm not afraid to throw the changeup to the left-hand hitters.
Couple strikeouts in the inning. The Orioles get their first base runner on a hit, but they strand one. After 3.5, Rangers by 3. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Mazda. In every car we make, you'll see why driving matters. Well, the Rangers leading 3-0 as they come to bat here in the bottom of the fourth inning. It'll be Will Venable, Bobby Wilson, and Hanser Alberto to face Ubaldo Jimenez. And, Venable takes strike one. Will called out on strikes his first time up there. That has been the only strikeout registered thus far for Jimenez. Left center field and down for a base hit. Venable a leadoff single. The Rangers now have their leadoff man aboard in all 4 innings tonight.
The catcher, Bobby Wilson.
Looks like that's the same pitch that he took for strike 3 his last at bat. I'm sure he wasn't too thrilled with that, but didn't take that one.
Fool me once, what is that? Shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
I'm not even going to try.
Yeah. Fool me twice, I'm going to hit the thing out of the ballpark. That's what it comes down to. Venable on the move and a check swing foul off the bat of Bobby Wilson. And Venable had a big jump. And Wilson couldn't get the bat back out of the way as he checked his swing. Venable might have stolen that standing. Well, he wasn't going to stand up, but I don't think there would have been a throw. You mentioned Jimenez holds runners halfway well, I guess. Takes a long time, though, to get the ball to home plate. A big guy like that takes a while to uncoil. And a base runner like Venable, that's pretty easy pickings. Shot from our wedgie cam right down there in right field, giving you an idea about how big a lead Venable has. Ranger running game has kind of been shut down of late. They have not been overly successful when they have run. They're just 8 for their last 16. It's foul backing out of play. Still 4th in the American League with 74 stolen bases, but you may see a little bit more of that coming down the stretch. You get Delino going, and Chu can steal out of that second spot. Venable has good speed. He's a good base stealer. May try to create a few more opportunities.
All right, Elvis in there as well.
Yeah. There goes Venable, and the pitch is lined up the middle softly. And at the bag, they're going to call Venable out.
He got a base hit for Bobby Wilson.
Yeah, he did.
Sure did.
And Jeff Bannister going to go out there and talk to the second base umpire, Paul Schreiber, about that.
If it doesn't hit him, he's going to catch it, and it's a double play.
That's right.
Boy, he definitely had that one stolen standing up.
That's interesting.
Just before he got to the bag there at second, yeah. I would guess what they'd have to rule on that would be interference on the runner, right? Yeah, interfering with a chance to catch the ball.
If he slides going into second base, that's a double play.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. It is.
I think he called it because the ball hit him and he was out right away. So as soon as the ball makes contact with him, then the ball's dead and he's out. So the ball hit him before Shope could get in position to catch it.
The Bucks are going to go out there and exercise his knowledge of the rule book, talking to Paul Schreiber about the whole thing, or talking to the crew chief, Field and Culbreth, and everybody that he can get a hold of.
You know, if you go out of the baseline to break up a double play, you get the automatic double play. I wonder if that's what Buck is saying. We got a double play if he doesn't interfere with my guy trying to catch the ball.
Could be. I don't think
he's getting too far with the argument.
Doesn't look like it. Yeah, on that's the McRae rule. And on that play, you have you have the latitude if you're an umpire to make that call. I'm not sure in this one you have the latitude if you're an umpire to call them both out.
Yeah, evidently not. There goes Buck back to the dugout.
And you know he exhausted every possible angle on that he could. No, I would assume it goes down as a base hit for Bobby Wilson. And a put out for the second baseman, Jonathan Scope. We'll get a clarification on that, exactly how the scoring went. In any event, Wilson at first now with one away. And Hanser Alberto takes inside for ball one. Alberto grounded into a fielder's choice that ended the Rangers' second. 0 for 1 tonight, hitting at .233. The breaking ball hangs high. Looks like it's a base hit on that last play. Bobby Wilson gets credit for a base hit, and the put out goes to the second baseman. Unassisted put out. Shallow center field, long run in for Jones. He's still coming, can't get there. And Bobby Wilson in no man's land is going to be out at second. Now a heads up play by Parra coming in. But Bobby Wilson, there's not much he could do.
Well, the only thing he could have done is go too far and have the guy catch it and double him off first, really. Not like it was Delino with his agility out there.
That's really in no man's land. Bobby Wilson can't do a thing. Nothing. Look at that.
It's like, there's nothing it's not really a base running blunder. There's nothing he could do about it.
No, 2 outs. Ball gets away and going to second. Alberto throw. They got it. Great throw by Caleb Joseph. Man, well, the Rangers get 2 hits in the inning. They end up not scoring and not stranding anybody without the benefit of a double play. We'll go to the 5th inning. 3-0 Rangers. The Astros in a pivotal American League West matchup. It's also one of the last 2 chances you have to enjoy Dollar Hot Dog Night at Globe Life Park. Don't wait to get your tickets for this important matchup. The Rangers and the Astros, and you and your Dollar Hot Dog. Go to TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS. Well, the wild and wacky 4th inning comes to a close. Now the Orioles come to bat here in the 5th. Steve Pearce to lead things off. Be Pearce, Scope, and Caleb Joseph. And Martin Perez deals inside for ball one. Just 1 base hit, 1 base runner against Martin Perez in the first 4 innings. Pearce a ground ball to third, his first time up. It's a fly ball to pretty deep left field. Venable going back. That ball carrying, and it is gone. Steve Pearce got one up apparently into the breeze drifting out to left field. It's his 9th home run of the year, and the Orioles cut the Ranger lead to 3-1.
Breaking ball, hanging breaking ball. Pierce didn't miss it.
With his eyes.
I think he was on that. I think he saw that pretty good.
And that is the first home run that Martin Perez has given up since last year. That ball just kept on carrying, and now a chopper by Jonathan Schoop. He's thrown out by Adrian Beltre. One gone.
No, Buzz, I didn't bring this up at the time because I didn't know what the rule was. But when Will Venable was going to second, let's say he got to second before the ball hit him. I didn't know whether he was out or safe or what the rule is, but I just checked with Will Rudd, the official scorekeeper, and he read me the rule. He said he would be safe, but the batter is out.
If he's standing on second
If he's
base.
standing on second, gets hit by a pop-up, he's safe, but the batter's out.
Interesting. And if he's not standing on the bag, then the batter gets a base hit, and the runner's out.
Right. I never would have known that.
There doesn't seem to be a whole bunch of equity in that.
That's just not fair. I would have to say if he's on the base, the ball hits him, he's safe at second, and the hitter gets a hit.
Yeah. That's what you would think, but
I mean that's what being safe is all about, isn't it?
You see, if
you're safely on the base.
If you hit the ball, you'd been on first base thinking, I got a base hit for just a little bit, and you'd see then somebody coming over, son, you're out. Get back to the dugout.
Another hanging breaking ball, and Caleb Joseph, a solid base hit to left center. Now Martin Perez paying the price for a couple of balls that stayed up in this inning. He gave up the home run to Steve Pearce, and now a one-out single to Joseph. So 1 on, 1 out. Ariel Alvarez now will come up. Yeah, and if you're the pitcher out there, you're trying to figure out how can I get both these guys out. There's got to be a rule that says that. But apparently not. Alvarez, fly ball to left his first time. And he shoots one by Beltre down toward the left field corner. Venable over to play the carom. Stopping at third is Caleb Joseph. Into second with his first major league hit, Dariel Alvarez. It's a double. And the Orioles making noise here, trying to come back against Martin Perez.
Yeah, Martin better go back to the sinker. Speed pitchers are getting roped. High changeup. That's three off speed pitches this inning, right in the center of the plate, and every one of them has been ripped hard.
Well, Mike Maddox out to the mound to see if he can give Martin Perez a chance to catch his breath. A leadoff home run, a ground out, and then a single to left center, a double right down the third baseline into the left field corner. Alvarez with his first major league hit. Orioles runners at second and third, just 1 out. Rangers clinging to a 3-1 lead. Paul Yanis, the shortstop, is at the plate. Fouls off that first pitch. It's 0-1. Rangers playing the infield back. They will gladly give up a run for an out. He's trying not to get that runner at second base. Alvarez across home plate. He carries the tying run here in the 5th inning. Fly ball to right field. Chu will make the catch. Tagging at third is Joseph. Here comes the throw. It is not in time. Joseph able to slide across home with the second run of the inning. And the sacrifice fly by Yanis makes it a 3-2 Ranger lead. Yanis with his first RBI as an Oriole.
Chu gets himself in pretty good position, gets behind the ball to come through it. But that ball was just hit just a little bit too deep.
No, Alvarez staying at second. There are now 2 outs and back to the top of the order for Manny Machado. Machado hit a hard line drive his last time up, right at Hanser Alberto, the second baseman. He's 0 for 2 tonight, also grounded out. 1 ball, no strikes. Machado, a .291 average, already a new career high in home runs with 26. Up the middle, into center, a base hit. Alvarez around third. The throw by DeShields is high. That's going to allow Machado to go to second. Machado trying to run into Elvis at second, claiming interference. But he drives in the tying run, a solid base hit to center. Takes second on the throw, and it's a brand new ball game. We are tied at 3.
Boy, you talk about a turnaround here in the 5th inning. Go through 4 innings. Our team was mowing them down. They had a couple of hard hit balls right at third, right at second. But in this inning, the hard hit balls are finding holes and going over the fence.
Shields got caught up in the moment out here. We see Machado going around second and runs into Elvis. He wants the interference call, but the only way you get that interference call is if you continue to go to the next base. So once Machado decided to stop, there's no interference there.
4 hits the inning, 3 runs across. Machado in scoring position. Gerardo Parra, who is 0 for 2, steps in. Foul tip. It is 0-1. Parra, pretty good pickup for the Baltimore Orioles. He has done very good work in Baltimore. A .250 average, 5 home runs, and 10 RBI in his 25 games. Came over at the trade deadline from the Brewers. 0-1 pitch to him. Got him on the fist. And Hanser Alberto will throw out Gerardo Parra. That'll do it, but Baltimore comes back to tie the ball game. They get 3 runs on 4 hits and lead 1. We're halfway through the ball game. Rangers 3 and Orioles 3.
It's good. You should trust it. In Arlington, Delino DeShields at the plate for the Rangers, and coming out of what was probably his most prolonged slump of his rookie season. All it took to break out was a little convo with the old man.
We talked about it like on an off day, but after Detroit. And after that, I felt normal. I felt like I was more relaxed, and he told me, he was like, I think you look back to how you used to early in the season.
So Delino said he noticed it watching the games on television, that he was pressing a little bit. And I said, is it necessarily anything particular that your dad said, or was it just the fact that it was your dad saying it? And he said it was probably just the fact that it was my dad saying it. Calmed me down, and it looks like he's busted out of that, guys.
Okay. Whatever it takes, right, Em? That's good stuff for Delino.
It's a pretty good resource to have.
No kidding. 1 ball and 2 strikes to him. Shields with a triple and a single. He has scored once. Even the count, and 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rangers 3 runs on 7 hits tonight. The Orioles 3 runs on 5 hits. Little looper into center, and Adam Jones coming on. 1 gone. Before Shin-Soo Choo steps in, let's send it back over to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. First pitch to Choo, off speed, and it cozies itself on the inside corner for strike 1. Choo with the RBI double last time up. His 59th run driven in this year. And Jimenez all of a sudden working the off-speed stuff pretty effectively. 0-2. The Rangers, in the last couple of innings, got to Ubaldo Jimenez. He had 2 hits and did not score in the 4th after putting 3 hits together for 3 runs in the 3rd. Jimenez able to get to Shields for the first time tonight, leading off the 5th. Ahead of the count, no balls and 2 strikes to Shin-Soo Choo. And Jimenez now up over the 70 pitch level, 74 with the next one. One ball and 2 strikes. Jimenez, as you've seen, that a couple of different fastballs, one a sinking type fastball and the other a four-seamer or cutter a little bit. Throw that slow curveball, then a slider, and also that split-fingered fastball. That one running in off the plate to Choo, and it's 2-2. Jimenez back to the plate. Call strike 3. Choo a little disgusted with David Rackley on that call, I think. 2 gone.
That was a high strike. Some of these are up and a little bit out of the strike zone. That was a high strike. Looked like it was borderline pitch, but touching the top of the strike zone.
Now Prince Fielder, he ropes one foul down the right side. Prince tonight 0 for 2. He has grounded into a fielder's choice and fly to left field. I'd like to see this guy, big guy, get hot. Yet he and Beltre in the middle of that order, and Moreland there. Slow tapper on the right side. Scope underhanding to first, and that'll do it. So Jimenez rebounds with a 1-2-3 5th inning. And we have played 5. It's the Rangers 3 and the Orioles 3. Mac, thanks for joining us. We'll see you after the ball game on Rangers Live. A special T-shirt to commemorate Adrian Beltre's 400th home run. First 15,000 fans 14 and older will be lucky enough to take home one of these special souvenirs sponsored by Snapple and 7-Eleven. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com to see the Rangers take on the A's at Globe Life Park and get this commemorative giveaway. Adam Jones, first ball swinging here in the top of the 6th. This guy's out to shallow right and Shin-Soo Choo. So one pitch and one away for Martin Perez.
Buzz, for the scorekeepers at home, I just went and checked again with Will Rudd, the official scorekeeper, and the rule that he quoted was not applicable on that play. It's an infield fly. In other words, men have to be on first and second or the bases loaded for that to be true. The batter's out on an infield fly automatically, but if it happens to hit a runner who's on the base, the runner is not out. That was not an infield fly. There was only a man on first. And so what appears to be the rule, at least based on what he told me, is if the runner, Will Venable, had gotten to second before the ball hit him, the hitter would have gotten a base. Or the hitter, he would have been out, just like he wasn't on second base, and the hitter would have got a base hit, which is exactly what happened. It wouldn't have mattered whether he got to second base or not. The ball would have hit him before it got to an infielder, and he would have been out, whether he's on the base or not.
Okay.
At least that's what he told me this time when I went over there.
Yeah, I'm not sure I was talking Mac. I'm not sure I've ever seen that happen.
I haven't either. And it was so close, right, to being at second when the ball hit him. It was logical to talk about it, but I didn't know what to say because I didn't know what the rule was.
Yeah, me too.
Apparently, even if you get to the base before the ball hits you, you're still out.
And no doubt Chris Davis is out. He swung through that pitch. Well, Martin Perez. Davis with his second strikeout of the night. Martin Perez now 2 up, 2 away here in the 6th, and Steve Pearce will come up.
Well, he kept that one down. Balls last inning were off-speed pitches, change-ups, and breaking ball were all belt high or a little bit below the belt, right in the middle of the plate. He's come back and gotten 2 tough hitters with nice pitches this inning.
And the first one of those hangers was to this man, Steve Pearce. And Pearce hit his 9th home run of the year. Banged one into the 2nd row out there over the out-of-town scoreboard. There's a fastball, called strike. Well, Pearce hitting at 234. And Perez trying to stay inside on him this time with fastballs. All 3 have been in that location. Two and two.
I didn't give him anything slow this time. He's pounded the ball inside. Pearce had a good year last year. He hit 293, 21 home runs for the Orioles.
This one's popped up. Bobby Wilson off with the mask. He's going to run out of room. That's back 4 rows. And we'll come back and try it again at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, Pearce tore apart the Rangers on a couple of occasions.
Yeah, I remember that in Baltimore.
He has been battled injuries this year. He hasn't been available as often as he or the ball club would like. He had a left oblique strain that kept him on the disabled list for the better part of 6 weeks. Another 2-2 pitch. That ball is hammered down the left field line. It's hooking at the pole and foul. Now Martin staying inside with the fastball, and finally Pearce able to get the head of the bat out and almost kept it fair.
Yeah, he kept his hands in and hit that ball solidly. That was 10 or 15 rows back right down the line.
Check swing, that pitch low, and the count is now full. Well, Pearce hitting 5th in the order. If he keeps this inning alive, Jonathan Scope would get a shot in the 6th inning. Payoff pitch on the way. Beltre sets, fires, gets it. Oh, nice comeback inning for Martin Perez. 3 up, 3 down. We finished 5.5 in Arlington. The Rangers 3 and the Orioles 3. Tonight's jackpot is worth $1,200 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Amanda Durkee from Dallas will win $1,200. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Amanda's going to win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Hang on here, Amanda, because Adrian Beltre is leading things off. Never mind, go ahead and sit back down. Popped up to the second baseman, Jonathan Scope there. And Beltre, who homered in the third, trying to back that up on the first pitch, and pops out, one gone.
Well, he had a good swing at a good pitch to hit. He just got underneath it a little bit.
Now Mitch Moreland will step to the plate. Mitch has singled and walked 1 for 1 officially tonight. Currently hitting at .288. Mitch still the team leader with 18 home runs. He has driven in 67. He's 4 behind Prince Fielder. 1 ball, no strikes. Mitch, the Rangers player of the month for the month of June. Hit .323 in June with 9 home runs. The pitch a little bit low, and it's 2-0. Kind of get the feeling Mitch is 0 in here on one. Had that sharp line drive single in his first time up. 2-0 pitch here. 2-1. The Rangers with Beltre's home run now with 135 as a team this year. Is 7th best in the American League. At the knees, 2-2 to Mitch. Jimenez to the wind. And Moreland fouls back that high fastball. Mitch trying to get something going here with 1 out in the 6th inning. The Orioles playing that extreme overshift on him. Machado, the third baseman, playing in that normal shortstop spot. Got him swinging. Off speed, and Moreland down on strikes. 2 gone. Elvis Andrus coming out.
Shortstop, Elvis Andrus.
3.5 inning. How about this?
I'll tell you what, Noxie makes a great comeback in this race.
They tricked me the whole way, guys. Blue told me my shoe was untied. They got a 20-yard head start. I had to chase them down. Then I did the Delano Shields at the end. Had to dive for the finish line. Good race, guys. But this all benefiting the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation. Labor Day race coming your way, of course, on Labor Day right here. The finish line of the 5K finishes right where we finish. So sign up now, TexasRangers.com. Get out of here.
Elvis deep in the corner, off the wall. And that's going to be at least 2. He's going for 3. Here comes the throw from Barra. Elvis in safely with a triple.
Thought that might have a chance right down the line. Didn't quite get enough of it. It'll take a base hit or something else to get him in now with 2 outs from third base. Not hit that on the good part of the bat. A little bit off the handle, maybe.
Little trademark?
Yeah, a little trademark. As we've seen, Elvis now has power to hit the ball 415 feet to left center field, so right down the line, no problem for him if he got it right.
About halfway up the wall out there, it looked like. And after that, Doug Showalter's going to send his pitching coach Dave Wallace out there to have a chat with Jimenez.
Elvis is down on, got both hands on his knees, after going from home to third. Jim Knox went from the left field corner all the way past first base. He wasn't even breathing hard. It shows you the kind of shape that Knoxie's in.
Yeah, Knoxie's in some kind of shape. Michael Givens, side-wheeling right-hander, getting loose in that Oriole bullpen. Now Elvis, his second triple of the year at third base with 2 outs. Will Venable at the plate. Venable is 1 for 2 today. And they're going to intentionally walk him here and work to Bobby Wilson. Well, we'll see if Jeff Bannister elects to pinch hit for Bobby Wilson, the right-handed hitting catcher. You got Rougned Odor, the only hitter from the left side on the Ranger bench. And Jeff said he was available in certain situations. Now, it doesn't look like he's grabbed a bat and a helmet in this situation. So apparently Bobby Wilson coming up.
Probably with only 4 extra men. If you do use Rougned, then you use him and another catcher. So you probably wouldn't do it there. He'll probably look back at Bobby's time here and remember a couple of those hits he's gotten with men in scoring position and hope to get another one right here.
Yeah, Bobby Wilson will not face Ubaldo Jimenez as Buck Showalter bounces out of the Oriole dugout. Going to make the change. So the pitching change underway here at Globe Life Park. 2 on, 2 out. Rangers and Orioles tied at 3. Pitching change underway. And we'll be back right after this timeout on Fox Sports Southwest. On Twitter, brought to you by the Texas Department of Transportation. The right-hander Michael Givens is on now. He inherits runners at the corners and 2 outs. Givens in his 11th ball game for the Orioles. Originally signed as a position player. Played his first 3 years before converting to pitching back in 2013. And he's made his way up very quickly. And he gives up a base hit to left field for Bobby Wilson. In to score. Elvis Andrus on to third goes Venable. And Bobby Wilson foils the strategy of the intentional walk. Drives in his 7th run as a Ranger. And the Rangers lead it 4-3.
Well, Bobby's driven in some big runs for the Rangers. He gets the bat on the ball. And he obviously went up there and looked for the first fastball he saw. Got one to his liking and drilled it right over third base. That pitch not even a strike. That's about 6 inches inside. He turned on it and kept it fair. Big hit for Bobby right there.
A double for Bobby Wilson. The Rangers regain the lead. And now second and third, still 2 outs. Here is Hanser Alberto. And the sweeping breaking ball comes in. A little bit of emotion in this game, as you can understand.
Big game, big moment in the game.
Foul back to the screen. And that moves the count to 0-2. Alberto tonight has grounded into a fielder's choice each of his first 2 times up. Hitting at .231. Got Venable at third, Wilson at second. Little tapper back to the mound. Givens will make the throw to first, and that'll do it. But Bobby Wilson gets the Rangers back on top. His RBI double scores Elvis Andrus. The Rangers get a run on 2 hits and leave 2. After 6, Rangers 4, Orioles 3. Shin-Soo Choo right off the bat. That double in the 3rd inning brought home Delino to Shields. And Adrian Beltre followed with his 13th home run of the year into the bullpen. He did it 3-0. Back came the Orioles. Steve Pearce with his 9th home run of the year. Over the out-of-town scoreboard for Baltimore. And Bobby Wilson untied the ball game with his RBI double, bringing home Elvis Andrus. Rangers leading 4-3 as we head to the 7th inning. Jonathan Scope, the second baseman, leading things off, hit that little pop foul that bounced out of play. Scope tonight has grounded out twice, once to second, once to third.
He struck out 4 times last night, so he's 0 for 6 in the series. But he's a much improved hitter this year from last year. Last year, he played in 137 games and hit .209. He walked 13 times, struck out 122 times. This year, he's on the disabled list for a while, so he's had, around 200 at bats or so, 150 at bats, whatever. He's having a hard time in this series, but coming into the game, he was a .293 hitter. So he's shown some improvement this year as a young hitter. Only 23 years old, has some power.
And 24-year-old left-hander Martin Perez went up the ladder a bit.
He may be having a good year, but not right now.
No, 1 out. Here's Caleb Joseph, the catcher. Joseph 1 for 2 tonight. He is lined to third and had a hard single to left center field. Came around to score the second Baltimore run. Off-speed pitch in for strike 1. Looping drive to left. That's going to settle in for a base hit. Venable plays it on a bounce. And Caleb Joseph with his second hit of the night. A 1-out single, and Dariel Alvarez will come up.
Martin got hit around a little bit. His off-speed pitches were up in the 5th, but he's had a great strike-to-ball ratio. He's thrown 80 pitches. 61 of them have been strikes.
Yeah, Elvis taking a little time talking to Martin Perez. Keone Kela loosening in that Ranger bullpen. Andy Hawkins, the bullpen coach for the Rangers, assistant pitching coach out there. Hawk will have all the information the relievers need about who's coming up and the scouting reports, etc. on them. Here's Alvarez, who doubled his last time up. First pitch to him is inside. The appeal down at first, and shaking his head no. Jim Reynolds said he did not swing. 1 ball, no strikes. Alvarez double his last time up, his first major league hit. Way inside. And to skip rope to get out of the way of that Martin offering. This is where Martin Perez, you'd like to see him kind of slow things down a little bit. I don't mean tempo. I mean just the body language. Just calm down and get a good idea in your mind what you want to do, and then go ahead and do it. Pretty good results right there. 2-1. See some guys out on the mound that wear their emotions on their sleeve, and you can see them getting hot, and they get about the color of Martin's jersey. Say, hey, we got this guy. No way he can get you out now. The 2-1 pitch coming. Up the middle into center field, a base hit. Joseph to second will stop there. Alvarez with his second hit, so runners at first and second with 1 out. And Paul Yanis will come up, and I don't think he's going to be facing Martin Perez as Jeff Bannister coming out of the Ranger dugout. Well, Perez has gotten into the 7th inning. 84 pitches, and he has allowed 7 hits, 2 runners on base with just 1 out, and that's going to do it for the left-hander tonight. No, Keone Kela will get the call. He will make his way in from the bullpen. Nice round of applause for Martin Perez as he heads toward the Ranger dugout. Pitching change underway. Rangers on top 4-3 here in the 7th. We're back after this. Keone Kela on now to take over, and Paul Yanis, the shortstop, called back, and instead it's Ryan Flaherty coming off the Baltimore bench to pinch hit. First pitch to him is high for ball 1. Keone Kela appearing in his 59th ball game of the year. He is 6-5 with a 2.75 ERA. League hitting 244 against him, but Keone has kind of put the foot down on the opposition of late. And Flaherty offs a fly ball down the left field line, and Venable has a play. Wheeled into foul territory, makes the catch. That is out number 2. Well, Flaherty fouls out. Now back to the top of the order for Manny Machado.
Third baseman Manny Machado.
They got a lot of guys with their gloves there. Hopefully they were getting ready to pull their gloves back and let him catch the ball. Looked like that's what was going to happen.
Yeah, we got to remember that Will Venable not real familiar with Globe Life Park and the environs around here. Still trying to figure out how much distance he has between the foul line and in the stands. Stayed with it nicely, so 2 gone. Manny Machado is 1 for 3 with an RBI single.
That's probably a good idea. Start him off with a breaking ball because he knows he's throwing hard and he loves to hit the fastball.
Machado's RBI played at his 66th run of the year. 1-0 pitch coming. Another off-speed pitch.
Now, Machado in his first 2 years in the big leagues walked 49 times total in about 1,000 at bats. This year he's already walked 50 times in 500 at bats, so he has really become a more patient hitter. First couple of years he went up there hacking. 50 walks in 2 years is not a lot of walks, but this year he could easily walk maybe 60 times, which would be a lot more than he walked in the first 2 years total.
Well, Machado fell on that pitch back, and that caught Bobby Wilson's mask flush. A 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Caleb Joseph at second base, carrying the tying run. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th inning. Called strike on the fastball. 1-2. And that's what a couple of off-speed pitches in the first 2 pitches will do to you.
Manny Machado's kind of nodding his head. Yep, okay, I saw it. I saw that fastball. I know it was a strike.
Gela okays the sign and sets. The 1-2 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? No, he did not.
Well, that pitch has been a strikeout pitch for Keone the last couple of weeks. Get ahead with 2 strikes, buried the curveball. He's had a couple of big strikeouts in key situations with it, but Machado started his swing and I guess stopped it just in time. Looked like.
Well, he's probably going to have another opportunity to check his swing too. On one of the next 2 pitches, I would think. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on and 2 out. Got him swinging.
What a pitch.
Big overhand hook, and Keone Kela does the job. 2 stranded on a couple of hits. We'll take the stretch here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Keone Kela keeping it a 4-3 Rangers lead. And now we'll join Chuck Morgan as he introduces God Bless America.
Our country at home and around the world. Performing God Bless America tonight is Vocal Fusion.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, my own sweet home.
4-3, and we hit you with this as we head to the bottom of the 7th. Tonight's Coors Light Cold Hard Fact. Legendary Dodgers broadcaster Vince Scully announced last night that he'll return for his 67th season broadcasting Dodgers games. And just so you know, Steve Busby, Tom Grieve, and myself have a combined 57 years covering the Rangers. So we still have 10 more years collectively to catch up. And he has to stop working at some point for us to catch up, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. When we were in LA, got the chance to meet him, talk to him. What a lovely man, so sharp, so kind. Very rarely do I ask for pictures with people, but I definitely asked for one from him. Cool guy.
Just remember, we're catching up every year because there's 3 of us and only one.
That's the best point you've ever made, Tom Grieve.
So. You have to work a while, but we'll catch up with him soon.
Eventually.
Yeah. Even if he does work, I should say. Wow, that's unbelievable.
It is. He is one of a kind, no doubt.
So, how old is he? He's 80?
87.
87 years old.
Delino to Shields grounding out to start things, and Shin-Soo Choo will come up. Phil Crow or
Vince Scully could be Phil's father. Phil's just a young pup.
Yeah, he is. Been working almost the same length of time, but
that's unbelievable. 87 years old, and you're still in. And I'm sure you've several times this year picked up his call. It's just about perfect. The guy's still great.
Choo grounds out there 2 away.
And he does the games all by himself, too.
He does. Yep, he does. Now, before Prince comes up, let's send it over to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Here's Prince. And he takes the pitch low and inside from Givens. 1 ball, no strikes. Fielder, a couple of ground outs and a fly ball to left. 0 for 3 tonight. That average at 313. That's as low as it's been since the 3rd game of the season. 2 balls, no strikes. And defensive change. Ryan Flaherty staying in the ballgame, taking over at shortstop for Paul Janisch. Fielder lost a fly ball to shallow left. Machado going out. He can't get there. And Fielder, after a big turn, hangs on with a long single. Prince having to scamper back to that bag after he got a little carried away going around first.
Well, you get an idea the arm strength that Machado has on this play. He's sprinting out into left field, going toward the left field fence. And after he picks this ball up, anticipating that Fielder might be going to second, you get a look at it right here. Running the other way, he turns and throws a 1-hop strike to second base. You got to have some pretty good arm strength to have that much on that throw. Whoops.
No, Fielder with his first hit of the night. Rangers now in double figures. They have 10 hits this evening. They lead 4-3. Here's Adrian Beltre. This is inside for ball 1. Beltre, a 2-run home run back in the 3rd inning. That capped off a 3-run Ranger 3rd. For Adrian, his 13th home run of the year, now has 44 RBI. And Givens hits the outside corner. 1-1. Ground ball, base hit to center field. Prince will stop at second. Beltre with his 2nd hit of the night. He continues to punish Baltimore pitch.
Now batting first baseman.
Came in hitting .381 against them since 2012, and a 2 for 4 is not going to drop that inning. And with Mitch Moreland coming up, Ryan Strasburger is going to go out and run for Prince Fielder. And meanwhile, Buck Showalter on his way to the mound. He wants to make a pitching change with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Mitch Moreland will be the hitter. We'll tell you about the new pitcher after we take a timeout. We're back right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Photo, our strongest fan photo of the day, sent to us by Jessica. Jessica, thank you very much. Great photo. And if you folks would like to send in your strongest fan photo, just use hashtag Southwest Data Strong Fan. Your photo might be selected to be aired during one of our upcoming broadcasts, like Jessica's was tonight. All this made possible by the good folks at T-Mobile. Brian Mattis, 28-year-old left-hander, on now to inherit runners at first and second with 2 outs. He will face Mitch Moreland. And Mitch 1 out of 6 against Mattis in previous matchups. And first ball swinging, he grounds out to Jonathan Scopes. So Mattis comes in, throws 1 pitch, and gets the 7th inning to come to an end. Rangers get a couple of hits, but Strand 2. We'll go on to the 8th inning. It remains the Rangers 4 and the Orioles 3.
Time for the Progressive Fan of the Game. You may recall Rita. She celebrated her 99th birthday here at Globe Life Park last year. She said she's going to celebrate 100 here, and it is 100 years old today. Happy birthday, Rita. You said last year all you want to do is come back to the ballpark, have a hot dog and relish and a beer. Did you get it done?
Yes.
Well, congratulations. Here's the bag. Progressive fan of the game. What about 101 next year here at the ballpark? What do you want to do?
Do the same thing.
The same thing? Anything else?
Dance on the table.
Dance on the table. All right, Rita. All right, well, happy birthday, Rita. We'll see you next year, all right? There you go. Way to go, Rita.
That's so great.
All right, Oxy.
We've had at least 3 ladies 100 years old. We had the one throw out the first pitch today, and Elizabeth Sullivan early in the season. That's pretty great. That their favorite thing at 100 years old is to watch the Rangers. Man.
Here's Jake Diekman. And he goes to work here in the 8th inning, facing Gerardo Parra, and fires strike 1. So Diekman, the third Ranger pitcher employed by Jeff Bannister tonight. Keone Kela came on to get the final 2 outs of the 7th inning. And Diekman now getting Parra out in front with that breaking ball, 0-2. Parra 0 for 3 tonight. He has flied out, struck out, and grounded out. Jake Diekman, his 15th appearance in a Ranger uniform. Got him swinging. A nasty pitch down and away, and Parra is the first out of the 8th inning. Take a look at our Kubota power stats for tonight. Jake Diekman, he has held opponents scoreless in 12 of the 14 games prior to tonight with the Rangers. League hitting just 170 against him with 4 walks, 11 strikeouts, and now you can add one more to that as he strikes out Gerardo Parra to start things off. Pretty impressive stats for Jake Diekman. And we talked before the ball game about how solid this Ranger bullpen has become. The addition of Diekman and Sam Dyson and the emergence of Keone Kela. You're talking about a foursome down at the end of that bullpen that can shut down anybody. Adam Jones, a base hit in 3 trips tonight. 2 balls, no strikes. Jones had a single back in the 4th inning. Other than that, has grounded out and flied out. Jones, the starting left fielder for the American League at the All-Star game this year. And the pitch high and away. It's 3-0. Diekman back to the plate. 3-1. Now, one of the problems that Jake Diekman had in Philadelphia before coming over to the Rangers was the base on balls. He walked 24 in just under 37 innings of work. That has not been a problem here. 4 walks in 13 innings as a Ranger. 3-1 to Jones. Elvis gobbles up that ground ball. 2 gone.
Good pitch. He came back from 3-0 to through 2 97-mile-an-hour sinkers. One for strike 1, and the second one soft ground ball to shortstop. Good pitch. A 1-run game. Exactly what you want to do. Keep the ball down, make it sink, keep the ball in the ballpark.
So 2 away. Here's Chris Davis. Rangers going to the overshift on the infield, and Elvis moving over toward a normal second base position. And Davis shoots one into the vacated shortstop hole. Now, Chris Davis going with the left-hander as best he could. He has a base hit with 2 outs in the 8th inning.
First baseman Steve Pierce.
And with Davis at first now on 2 outs, Jeff Bannister making his way out to the mound. Sam Dyson is ready if needed in that Ranger bullpen. You've got Steve Pierce, a right-handed hitter, the next scheduled batter, and Jeff Bannister a slow walk out to the mound. Going to decide on his way out there what exactly he wants to do. Bullpen. You know, he's going to go to the bullpen now. Sam Dyson's going to be brought in. Say there are a couple of left-handed hitters or switch hitters that can bat left-handed on the Oriole bench. But Sam Dyson will be called in with Chris Davis at first, 2 outs. here in the 8th inning. Rangers leading 4-3. We'll take a timeout. We're back right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Through HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices with MLB.TV Premium. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and a lot more every night on every device. Blackouts and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Sam Dyson. This is outside to Steve Pearce for ball one. Dyson, his 15th outing in a Ranger uniform. Last saw Sam night before last against Toronto. Worked an inning and 2/3 against the Blue Jays. 1-0 pitch. 2 balls, no strikes. Pearce tonight has homered in 3 trips. Here are the numbers for Sam Dyson as a Ranger. 1-1 record, 6 holes, and he has the 11 strikeouts, just 1 walk. Only 2 balls in the air for outs against him. Fires a strike. It's 2-1. Dyson with 37 ground ball outs, 2 fly ball outs as a Ranger. 2-1 pitch to Pearce. No swing. 3-1. Sam Freeman, the left-hander for the Rangers, getting loose. Dyson back to the plate. Little pop-up on the infield. Elvis has it, and that'll do it. So a jam shot gets Dyson and the Rangers off the field. No runs a hit for Baltimore, and 1 man left after 7.5. Rangers lead the Orioles 4-3.
the 8th here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. This is the second of a 3-game set between the O's and the Rangers. The finale will take place tomorrow here at Globe Life Park. 2 o'clock first pitch. There you see some interesting day game stats for Adam Jones and Prince Fielder. 2 o'clock first pitch once again right here on Fox Sports Southwest. A big thank you to AT&T Uverse for bringing us all this good information. And if you want a scouting report on me tomorrow for the day game, overheated. Guys.
Thanks, Jeff.
It's going to be hot.
Yeah, well.
It's going to be hot.
Could be.
Perhaps. I'm going to say it's going to be hot.
Brad Brock has come into the ballgame now to take over for the Orioles here in the 8th inning. Brock, a 29-year-old, lives in Nashville, and he goes to work on Elvis Andrus with the swinging strike on AT&T Uverse Rewind. How about Elvis driving the ball almost out of the ballpark. Got himself a triple on that ball into the corner, and that set up the go-ahead run as Bobby Wilson doubled him home. That was last time up for Elvis. He's 1 for 3. And Brock fires a strike. It is 0-2. Brock has been with San Diego and came over to the Orioles last year.
The Orioles always seem to put together a good bullpen. Brock is having a nice season. 71 strikeouts, 61 innings. They traded Tommy Hunter. Tommy Hunter was a guy who would come in and throw 98 miles an hour. They traded him. Brock's tuning it up there pretty nicely right now himself.
95 miles an hour. Andrew's gone on strikes. 1 away, and Will Venable will come out.
Michael Gibbons, who pitched earlier, was another mid-90s guy. More often than not, the guys that come in from the 6th inning to the 9th inning are pretty much mid-90s nowadays.
And Sean Tollison getting himself ready. That's something, though, when your closer has the least fastball of the last 4 guys in your bullpen. Venable up the middle. Skov can't get it. It's under his glove into center field. And Will Venable has his second hit of the night. He's 2 for 3. A 1-out safety here in the 8th inning.
Catcher Bobby Wilson.
Skov was shading it over toward first base. And that ball hit up the middle.
Yeah, that would have taken an exceptional play with a strong throw to be able to get Will at first base. Don't think he would have gotten it.
Well, Venable, a pair of singles and an intentional walk. He's at first base now. Here's Bobby Wilson. A perfect night for the Ranger catcher. He's 2 for 2. A walk and an RBI. He drove in the go-ahead run with a double back in the 6th inning. Probably will get to see Will Venable try and steal second base if he gets a jump. Wilson now a .293 average as a Ranger. 0-1 on the foul ball. Brad Brock out of Monmouth University. Monmouth is in New Jersey. He and his brother both played at Monmouth. Brock now lives in the Nashville, Tennessee area. 0-1 the count. 0-2. Brad Brock last year with the Orioles went 7-1 out of the bullpen, 46 games. He had a .318 ERA. So got into a lot of ball games with the Orioles coming back to win. This one popped up. Scope angling out, coming on the right fielder Alvarez, and Scope making the catch up over Alvarez, and Alvarez went down to a knee. Now, this is just the second game that the two of them have played on the same side of the field.
It doesn't look like Alvarez was saying anything, which is why Scope kept on going.
No, that is out number 2, and now Hanser Alberto will come up. Alberto 0 for 3 tonight. He has grounded out all 3 times. Currently hitting at .228. And he lofts a fly ball to right. Alvarez camped underneath it, makes the catch, and that will do it. Rangers get a hit, but strand a runner. We're going to the 9th here at Globe Life Park. It is tally time once again. Rangers lead the Orioles 4-3 on Fox Sports Southwest.
This one-run lead and make it 3 straight wins. 4-3 is their lead as we head into the top of the 9th. Dana Larson here reminding you we've got Rangers Live, the post-game edition, coming up right after the game. On the post-game show, join me, Mark McLemore, and Pudge Rodriguez, who has just arrived and is here to say hello. He, of course, will be breaking down some of the big moments in this game, also a few of the stranger ones as well. And no surprise that Adrian Beltre is having himself a game against the Baltimore Orioles. Yes, it is all about Pudge, isn't it? Indeed, it is. And we will have a lot of Pudge and a lot of Jeff Bannister post-game reaction coming up after the game. And we'll look ahead to Derek Collins starting the finale. But we'll get it back to you, Buzz and Tom.
All right, Dana, thank you. Keep an eye on Pudge over there. He looks like he's going to get wound up here.
He's a piece of work.
Has he been in the coffee yet?
This may be coffee number 5.
Okay.
He said no more.
Sean Tollison, and he has been in the decaf tonight. Always calm as usual. Facing Jonathan Scope to lead off the 9th inning. Elvis can't get that ball just by him, just out of his reach, and Scope is aboard with a leadoff single. Twice tonight, Elvis has had a shot on the dive at a ball, and they have both eluded him.
Well, Scope had not done much. He was 0 for 7 in the series with 5 strikeouts before that base hit. Didn't hit it all that hard, got jammed a little bit, but was able to sneak it by Elvis into center field.
Well, the Orioles have the tying run at first with nobody out. Here's Caleb Joseph, who has singled in each of his last 2 times to the plate. And Tollison misses outside for ball 1. Joseph singled with 1 out in the 5th inning and came around to score. And with 1 out in the 7th, also had a base hit. Handling catching chores tonight as Tollison fires a strike. Caleb Joseph was on deck last night when Sean Tollison closed out the ballgame. Last night, Joseph was the designated hitter with Matt Wieters catching. Just off the outer part of the plate. 2-1.
Well, Sean likes to the right-hand hitters, likes to paint that outside corner with his fastball. That was pretty close to painting it. It's not have touched the strike zone. Pretty close.
Tollison's next pitch. Slice out of play down the right side. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Caleb Joseph, a .249 hitter. He and Matt Wieters now pretty much splitting the catching duties. Getting some time at the DH when they aren't catching. Joseph caught most of the ball games the first part of the year while Wieters was recuperating from Tommy John surgery. 2-2 pitch. He was just able to get a piece of that breaking ball. John Tollison, 27 saves in 29 opportunities. He's completed or converted 14 of his last 15. Another 2-2 pitch instead is a toss to first. Tollison, 27 saves since the 20th of May. That's the most in the American League. That is when Sean took over the closing duties. Slowly hit to third. Beltre has 1 play only. Across the diamond. Joseph is out into scoring position. Jonathan Scope. Dariel Alvarez now will come up.
Not hit quite hard enough to get the force out at second, so the tying run has moved to scoring position. But a big first out for Sean. Adrian playing back. Ball's taking a little bit of a hop, takes a tricky hop on him right there, but with those hands and that arm, not a problem.
He has that ball magnet right in the middle of his glove. So 1 out. Here is Alvarez, who is 2 for 3. His first 2 major league hits. First pitch is low and outside, the breaking ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Alvarez doubled and scored in the 5th inning. Singled in the 7th. Ranger infield around to the left a few steps. Outfield in a similar fashion. And that pitch low and away. 2 balls, no strikes.
I guess if you look ahead, ideally you'd love to get Alvarez and Flaherty and not have to face Manny Machado. Machado is the 3rd hitter now with 1 out.
And that pitch high. 3-0. Well, John Tollison going to be a little bit deliberate facing Alvarez. There's Manny Machado. He is on the top step of that dugout. 3-1. Tollison in last night's save had a couple of strikeouts, gave up 1 hit. Ended up throwing 18 pitches to close out the Orioles. 3-1 the count to Alvarez. Lost him. So Alvarez draws the 1-out walk. First and second. Ryan Flaherty coming up, and it does set up a double play if you are inclined to look at the glass half full.
Well, that'll work very nicely. That way you won't face Machado either.
Bobby Wilson out there to talk to Sean Tollison. Elvis Andrus joining in the conversation. Flaherty came on as a pinch hitter back in the 7th inning and fouled out to left field. Flaherty has hit safely in each of his last 2 ball games. Season average at .217 with half a dozen home runs. So there is some pop in that bat. Be careful with him. He's got Scope at second, Alvarez at first. 1 out. Rangers lead by a run here in the 9th inning. Ground ball. Moreland cuts it off. To second, they get 1, and that's all they get. Ball not hit sharply enough. They do keep the force play in effect. There are 2 outs with runners at the corners, and Machado is coming up.
Third baseman Manny Machado.
Good pitch, ball headed to the hole, not hit quite hard enough. Mitch is back and had no problem with the glove on his right hand making that play. Gets the force out, knows they're not going to get 2. Just get that 1 to make sure. And he got probably the toughest hitter in the lineup for the Orioles.
You have Scope at third, carrying the tying run. The go-ahead run at first, Ryan Flaherty. Manny Machado, 1 for 4 tonight with an RBI single. And the crowd of 29,768 beginning to rise to their feet. First pitch to Machado. On the outside corner for strike 1.
Yeah, it's amazing. The first pitch to Scope was right in that same spot, only just a hair off the plate. That one was just barely touching the plate. One was a ball, one was a strike. That's pretty good eyes right there by the home plate umpire. Called 1 a ball and 1 a strike. But he was right.
David Rackley, the home plate umpire tonight, and he has not had many complaints from either side. 0-1, Tolleson to Machado. 0-2.
That's Sean's bread and butter. Fastball, outside corner. Now Sean's thinking, okay, got him 0-2. Where do I go now?
And you know Machado's thinking, well, the last time I was here, Keone Keller dropped a hook on me. Got me swinging.
I'd throw a fastball about 4 inches outside.
Tolleson sets. Right about there?
Yeah, that's exactly what I would have thrown. Machado laid off it. You almost think, he's taking 2 for strikes. Might expand the zone a little bit, but he didn't do it. Keep firing it out there.
Crowd rising to the occasion. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tolleson to the plate. Popped up down the right side. That's going to drift back into the seats. And we will have to try one more time at 1-2.
And Machado knows exactly what he's thrown him. All fastballs away, but still in the back of his mind, he knows he has to be ready for the other pitches. Sean's got a curveball he could throw him, a changeup he could throw him. He has to decide, do I want to try to throw something off speed or go with my best pitch?
Well, Bobby Wilson will make the suggestion as he crouches down behind home plate. Tolleson leaning in, has what he wants. Another 1-2 pitch is coming. Check swing, did he go? Yes, he did. And Sean Tolleson makes that a winner. And Machado is furious. Slams his batting helmet down. Buck Showalter is going to come out and separate him from David Rackley, the home plate umpire. And Machado furious that Rackley didn't ask for help making the call. Said, no, I didn't need it. And Sean Tolleson with the punch out of Manny Machado with the tying and go-ahead runs on base turns this ball game into a winner for the Rangers as Tolleson gets his 28th save in 30 opportunity. And the Rangers win a nail-biter here tonight, 4-3.
He didn't go with anything off speed. He just kept firing that fastball away. Exactly where he wanted to throw it. Machado didn't think he swung. Let's take a look. See you later, son. That's a swing in any league. I mean, he may have appreciated if the home plate umpire asked the first base umpire, but if he did, he was going to get rung up anyway.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that, especially that look from right field. You're looking at the same angle that the first base umpire is looking at, and you saw that bat go through the hitting zone. And Machado didn't like it, but that's what happens when your ball club is not playing well, and you get called out with the tying run at third base in the 9th inning. So Martin Perez gets the win as Sean Tolleson gets the save here tonight. They close out their second win in a row over these Baltimore Orioles. Let's head down to the field. Emily Jones is standing by.
Thank you very much, Bobby Wilson. When you get walked, or the batter before you gets intentionally walked, I bet that actually felt
Really, that was nice. That never gets old.
It doesn't, does it? Okay, so when the batter before you, Will gets walked intentionally to get to you, what's going through your mind?
Well, you take it personal. You know, you don't want to get shown up on the baseball field, and that's kind of how I take it, that, you know, I'm not going to get shown up, and I'm going to prove my worth.
What about you guys as a team, just the way you've been playing of late? What's it been like?
It's awesome. It's awesome. Great atmosphere. The guys are having fun. The veteran guys keep it loose. It's just, it's an honor and privilege to be a part of this organization, and hopefully we keep it rolling.
Talk about the work you did behind the plate today. Martin ran into that road bump there in the 5th, but he seemed pretty good outside of that inning.
Yeah, it was just a matter of some pitch sequences that, you know, we went against the grain a little bit and it wound up hurting us, but, you know, he continued to pitch, continued to battle, and it was a great day for him.
Tolly's been used a lot here lately. Nice to see him get through some treacherous waters here in the 9th.
Yeah, Tolly's fine. You know, like I've said, he's our guy, and we're going to ride him, and, you know, he's done a great job.
Bobby, congratulations on the win. We appreciate the time. We'll send it back now to you.
All right, and thanks very much. Rangers win it 4-3. We'll come back to Gold Park with more right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.